favorite events of the year where we get to have an art talk that features our current, I guess our past year now, hard to believe, Brandon Fellows. And tonight, Nick is the sole representative of the Brandon Fellows because Julius Ferguson is sick and Jazz Henderson was not available to come. So I told Nick not to feel all the pressure, like to take it all on his shoulders, but he's done some amazing things here with this opportunity at GCCA. And you'll learn a little bit more about his journey. So we'll have a few moments here at the beginning for Nick just to talk about what got him involved in the Brandon Fellowship, a little bit about his history as an artist and what brought him here, and then the journey over the past year. And then I'll ask him a few questions, and you guys are welcome to bring up questions as well. I do, before we get started, want to highlight a couple of our other new Brandon Fellows for this year in the audience. Savannah and Anna. Welcome, so glad that you are here. And this is Nick Burns. I'm just going to kick it off and you can do your intro. If you want, Nick, you can take the mask off.
Cool. Right. Yes, I've taught dance education for 15 years, so I'm a little more comfortable dancing. So I stutter, I can prepare for here. So this whole experience started for me when I worked on a piece for Mary Duckett for this neighborhood 5 minutes away, and I found out about a living situation there where they help artists who are starting out, and I went to know what I was doing. I taught dance for forever, and just getting to a point where like there's an actual place that gives like a house for artists. It just I thought it was spam at first, but I did it, and I met Abby Schroeder and Terrence and Shucker. They saw me working on the piece, and they're like, "Have you heard of Brandon Fellowship?" And I thought it was a church organization. So I was like, "No, I go to Mount Zion." So I did my research on it, and I found out that it was a really great opportunity. And one of my graffiti artist friends, Brandon Seabrook, he told me about the opportunity as well. And so I just made it a plan from that point to really just immerse myself completely in it. I didn't even have a studio at the time. I was just street performing, doing caricatures of just people. And so I felt like if anything were to happen, it would just be God from the basics. So I just said, I'm going to try it. So I worked on this whole package of just like different mediums. And so I had a sort of like a wish list to like how many mediums I'd like to just hit, and it ended up being close to like 8. And I didn't know like how it was gonna go, so I started to experiment with graffiti, and I worked with oil for the first time, taking tutorials and things like that. Of course, Bob Ross. Yeah, he real fun guy. Just watching his videos, and for the most part, my son Alex, he's in the corner over there on Roblox. You know, that thing. He was the main inspiration for that, just because I wanted him to see what it was like to try other ways of being a man versus just being a ball, you know. And so I just went with it, and I actually got called to the interview for the fellowship maybe 4 months after, 4 or 5 months after I found out, and I was nervous like anything else. Full table people, felt like I was an X-Man or something, and it was interesting because again I didn't know any of this existed. None of this was around, and it was just an eye opener for where to take it. So again, I have like these 80 mediums in my pocket that I'm trying to work on, and so I felt like this would be a good opportunity to just see how it works. So I had all kinds of ideas. I believe the first month we went into it, I was like, I want to just dance on a canvas. You know, like how is that gonna work? So we just took a plywood and I just dumped paint and just danced. And so whatever the outcome from that I learn, I take from it, and I apply it to other things, which kind of open up other forms of media. Which that one in particular, I had a concept called the gray, where we took dancers and people and we put them in the painting. And sadly, COVID hit and just the whole thing. And so I'm hoping to get back to that. But just to kind of go into the broad of like how open my process was in just creating. I didn't really see the line between dance or the line between even art or even graffiti. You know, all of it just sort of blended. It's just how do you do it? So that was a big question. Like how can I take all of this and somehow mix it into one thing that sort of symbolizes who I am as a visual artist. So I was hanging with a friend and it just went, and I was like, I'm gonna try to go and connect with as many organizations and people as I can and somehow share my work. That was the premise starting off. I mean, I had work that I loved, but I was like, this is just gonna rot away in my house, just gonna catch dust. So that was also inspiration towards connecting with organizations. So I felt like if they could benefit from my work, it could somehow, like, I don't know, just sort of inspire and then also show a different way of connecting art. And so I just Googled a bunch of organizations and I made it a task to study their mission statements. And so just a few examples, like Make-A-Wish Foundation. I looked at the concept and I was like, what does that look like on a painting or on a wall? And so that's where I kind of start from with all of the pieces. And so it was really fun. It was very fun, like almost like a comedian would take like a sheet and out of a fishbowl. It was very, very fun. And also it gave me a little insight on community and then also on like how a lot of these nonprofits and organizations all have the same like heart, which is people. They all have different things, different specific things. Like there's not community foundations, but Tallville. There's the Artistry Gallery up the street. Like I saw those guys on bicycles going through a bar, and I thought it was really cool because they're like these giant bikes, and like everybody like walks by it, and you like stop and look like, what's going on? I love that, and to me that represents like real art because it's like you're not used to that. And so I met with the owner and just kind of got to see what their mission was, and very close to like what a lot of the art facilities around Greenville are trying to do. And so I just created a bike image for them with graffiti and went with that. So I have about 25 stories on every single location, but it ultimately ended up being where I wanted to have it to where it could come together and then also where you can experience it. And with COVID coming, that was like my biggest problem. I mean, I was actually going to give up on it. I would say I had like maybe 15 left, and I was about to throw in the towel because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to connect. And then I didn't even know who my final model was going to be at the time. Originally, it was going to be a Liv, who's actually one of the paintings in the 25. She has SMA. And she was going to be the background, but I ended up obviously going with my son. But as I went with connecting and piecing it together, it started to kind of build like a snowball type of effect. I really can't explain it, but it was more like the more people found out about it, they reached out or heard of it and wanted to know more about it. I sent out close to maybe 300 emails to different places. I heard back from maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 125. But in the end, it ended up being more than what I needed. And this was the end process. But originally, it was going to be on a 30 by 40 canvas, and I painted it. But like a week before the exhibition, I dropped it and it fell on a spray can and like goes all up on his face. And so I had to like, that last week, I'm like, I had my Photoshop app open. And so I'm like, what do I do? How do I connect it? And so I just started to mix my oil painting, which was his face without the ring on it. And then I took on a digital version of that image with just purple and pink hues. And then I just took the images of all of the black book sketches and just paintings, and I put them all together, and then this effect came out. And so I was really kind of shocked by it because of the color and the energy of it. And really at the time, I wanted to surprise my son as well. He didn't know anything about all of it. He's like, where you going this weekend? Because I mean, I paint at least 3 to 4 murals, where they're working on sketches or concepts or even just painting about a week beyond this. So him not seeing that, I wanted a way to like, okay, this is why, son. And so this is what this ultimately came out to be. So I would say in the style of it all, obviously it would fall under mixed media. But there are a lot of specific parts in this piece that are that have emotional value to it. And speaking of that, I wanted to find a way to, because you can look at this piece and there's so much within it, like you wouldn't know the backstory to it. So I created, show an image of it. It's a little black book game, which is sort of like a scavenger hunt. And you go to each location, and there's like little riddles and little things that kind of explain what happens with every piece. So you get like information on the location, and then also you travel from the mind of a graffiti artist. We hope, I have testers trying it out this week, so I don't know like how long it'll take, but I'm hoping that it takes about a weekend and it's just something fun for people to do. But that's pretty much the story of this and where I come from with it. Also, I'm dyslexic, so a lot of the material that I had, it's like everywhere. So for me, a lot of it is therapeutic. I try to stress that a lot with people, and in terms of seeing it or even expressing it, like art really does help with that a lot. I do plan on continuing this project, not specifically for this year, but working on more murals throughout the city and connecting in that way. And also to teach as well, not just in art, but like in all the areas of it, with what I can do. So that's pretty much it with that. Any other questions or anything? Anyone?
There's that place you're talking about where they're giving houses to artists.
Oh, the gallery.
Okay.
The gallery, yes.
I will take note of that.
They're very nice, nice people too.
What was your son's reaction?
Oh, my son's, he just said, wow. And I think in 8-year-old language, that's like, you know, because he never really says much, but he was very excited by that. And yeah, I mean, I was too, so, but he loved it.
So Nick, I actually forgot, I'm so sorry, to introduce our sponsor who sponsors all of the art talks. This is Lara Green from Advocates Planning Group, and she helps make these types of opportunities possible for all of us. So Lara, do you have a question for Nick or anything you'd like to share about Advocates with the group?
I just want to say that we're so proud to be here and be a part of this. We've been doing art talks since our second year now, and it's just been a great experience for us, and it's because of an amazing story and how you connected all these organizations together. It's just great. We look forward to going on your staff.
Thank you.
We're just proud to be a partner, and just y'all pivoted so well in this changing time, and to be able to offer this, I think, on Facebook Live to people too. It's just a great experience. So a lot more people get to hear you tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was saying to Laird earlier that in our last art talk, we had over 1,000 views. So nothing to be nervous about there. But can you tell us a little bit, Nick, because we also, I'm not going to point this person out, but we also have the founder of the Brandon Fellows here with us tonight, who literally makes this program possible. Can you tell us a little bit about what this past year has meant to you in terms of your professional growth?
Well, meeting Jazz and Julius was a really big thing too. We don't have to see a lot of representation with us as artists, us African Americans, and just being able to find other artists that are just as passionate, and we're just sort of like in this kind of like chamber together, just working and working. We build with that, and not just with them either, just the studio artists as well. Just every day that I met a lot of nice artists up front, which is motivating me. Even when they didn't know what they was, they motivated me, which is pro tip. Yeah, not every door, every day. But that's one big thing I was thankful for, just the community and support, and just knowing that there were other artists like myself out there.
I mean, here at GCC, we've been saying, thank you for saying about the pivoting. We really tried hard to stay open and continue our mission even in these weird times. Can you talk about maybe in this past year for you, what the silver lining of this pandemic has been, maybe some good that's come out of it?
Well, being an artist too, like how we can just get into that zone where like nothing matters, that really was something that helped get through all of it. Just times where you want to just turn up your phone or turn up the TV, just go pick up brush, canvas, and I just felt like it just was very easy to just create at a higher rate. And so after COVID was done, it's not done, but after starting to slow down a little bit, you have 20, 30 paintings that you did just because you were anxious or nervous. So that was the beneficial part of that, just being locked down. But again, being in that sort of spell, you're used to it too.
Well, it's great that you took advantage of that, because I don't think that everybody did, and some people just don't know what to do with themselves, and aren't as inspired. So what inspired you to continue working to that level?
Well, the interesting around that whole time with the news and everything that was kind of going on, a lot of things sort of shifted from like, look what I can paint, to like what you should see. And so a lot of the things were more like, how can I voice how I feel in this time without coming at you with anger or animosity, or like, can you just look at what I'm saying? So.
Anybody else have some questions?
When did you start painting murals, and how did you get started with that?
Well, I started as a graffiti artist, and when I was a kid, I did it the wrong way. But like my mom fought.
The unpaid way?
She was like, you can do it. But I would say I started really doing it when I was 8 years old, just experimenting with it. But I didn't get serious until I was maybe a senior in high school. So it's been a good while.
We've connected here with other young black artists around the radio group. Have you met any older black artists out here?
Actually, I have. I did. We were actually going to work on a mural, a Black Lives Matter mural for the city, and I was tasked with bringing a lot of the artists together, and I met a lot of, well, actually not a lot, there's two in particular. One, he's been in the city for a while, and just to know that he's been sort of fighting the same thing that we're fighting, just crazy. Just to see that it's still like, people are still fighting. So I thought that was cool, because I've never seen met an older artist besides my cousin. But
We have creative thoughts on how we can get also the older artists more involved at the Art Center.
that's another.
Tell them they're always welcome.
Wow. That's probably what it is. I mean, even just coming here, like, again, I knew nothing about it's not really hidden, but it's like, it's awesome once you step in here. So I feel like if they just know about it.
You may have said it already, but do you collaborate with other people who paint murals? And
Yes,
you've done that already?
definitely. Adam Schwimmer was the first artist that I collaborated with on a professional level, and then just throughout that time frame on, like, I've met really all the muralists in the city. We know each other, and I've had the opportunity to do some work with artists here, and just meeting a lot of those artists as well. So we're actually working on a little project right now, me, Julius, and Jazz, where we just do collaborations just for fun. And did one the other day, so.
So where are some of the murals that you've done?
You can, yes, you can, most of my work is on Pull West. So you go by community journals. I have the newspaper boys in the back. And then on the Pull West building on the right side, on the back, I have a giant piece behind there as well. And then West Greenville School, I did the whole entire hallway, which is crazy. That's a whole entire, like, we call it the Train of Hope, but you have to go schedule a visit to see it, but it's pretty long. And I work in Spartanburg and then Simpsonville and Fountain Inn as well. They're kind of like all around, but they connect in my map.
Where will the map be available?
The map will be available this weekend.
But where?
But where?
Where
Oh.
now is it going to be advertised to the public,
Oh.
and where can they actually see it and rather
Okay.
than follow
Yeah.
it?
All you have to do is follow me on Instagram at Artist Ninja P, and then I'll have a post that has all of that. That's Artist Ninja P. So,
I was going to say, is there anything else that you're excited about working on or that you've already started that you're looking forward to for the future?
yes, most definitely. I'd say season 2 of this. That's what I'm thinking of, season 2. It's already started, and then also working on a couple exhibitions, not with organizations, but just with people. Just kind of getting more specific with intent in that way. But yeah, definitely. I'm working on a couple pieces for a couple, really to show different issues or different things we need to see. Like one that I'm working on like currently is for prison reform, and it's really 2 of my best friends that I went to, that I grew up with, like literally we grew up with each other, and could have went anywhere, and they're in the system, and so we're creating a piece that somehow helps supports them, just putting money on the books, and then also to bring awareness to what they're going through. A lot of people are like Black Lives Matter and everything, but like it's the whole thing, that matters. So
Now, are you teaching dance?
yes,
Right
I
now?
teach privates called SLX, for Street Lights. I started working on that program about 3 years ago, and what I do is just train students into expression and freestyle, which is why I love graffiti. It's real fluid. You can mess up. Very forgiving, and then translates into dance as well, which if we were very specific, I'd say it's like hip-hop. It's hip-hop culture, but it's essentially just visual arts, dance, and different things. But because of COVID, everything's a little smaller, so private and things like that.
Is there an age limit for?
The oldest student I have or have had was actually like 62.
Okay.
62. Yeah, I have a very, very wide range. I have students from like 4 all the way up.
Okay. Great.
So I do want to mention that Evan over there at the front desk is another one of the current Brandon Fellows. Hi, Evan. Now, what would you say is one piece of wisdom that the new Brandon Fellows should do and one thing they should not do to get the most out of this next year?
I would say stay hungry, but also relaxed. Okay, so like, like stay motivated, not just for yourself, but like for me, it was the culture. So I feel like if you find that reason and you stay true to that, beyond all of the things like, can you paint this for me? Can you do this for me? Da 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 da. Let it go. That's what I would say.
And when you look at your son over there, so he was the inspiration for what you did here. What do you hope inspires him about his future?
I hope that I hope he can look at this and just be like, okay, well now I gotta top that. You know, like, yeah. But I just hope that he just continuously aims big. That's essentially what it is. Just kind of don't hold yourself back to limitations that people might try to set for you, and just aim for it or to fall for it.
So being an educator and an artist, and going back to expand on Danielle's question, what do you think young people of color need to feel like they have a place in the visual arts?
They need acceptance and representation. You need both of those two things. Like, just because a kid is out hitting pans and, you know, throwing things does not mean that kid's a problem. Could just be expressing themselves. And so just, I would say, understanding and appreciation and just opening the doors like man.
How about in the choice of classes that are offered here? Are there types of classes that would be more conducive to inviting those people and that they would find more attractive?
Yes, I do. Well, music is like, I feel like it's like the broth in a lot of things. So you've got music going and, you know, nice energy, we'll get it. Paint some music, yeah.
Are you planning to submit a proposal to teach here?
I didn't think about it. I did. I should. Probably should.
We hope so.
What is your end goals and strong words of like where do you see yourself, I guess, in 5-10 years, or like what do you want to do?
Right. Well, my actual dream was really to get work in a museum. And I went to High Art Museum for the first time maybe 2 years ago, and I died. It was crazy. And I remember seeing it. I didn't care about what the artists looked like when they were born, what kind of art it was. I was just like, this is awesome. And I want to somehow do this too. And so just to have an opportunity to do it once was just fun for me. But from doing that, it's giving me a drive. So I feel like seeds. So like whatever comes, I'm accepting of it and able. So.
Is there a formal education path towards that?
I feel like on the technical side, for certain specific mediums that you might want to do, like I was terrified of oil, very terrified of it. I thought it was odd toothpaste at first, and just playing with it, like really, really playing and taking, well, actually did schoolism through the courses here. I used my stipend for that, which that's another advice, schoolism, do it. It taught a lot of different classes and specific meetings that I needed. And then also the classes here as well were very, very helpful to that.
Especially in like the Greenville area and like living in the South, there aren't many higher up people of color that are doing painting, fine art, that are really seen and revered as like more idol level. Do you have any people that you have noticed starting to come up that you feel like will get to that level besides yourself? Or people that already you feel are at that level that we should all like look into that fit your style?
It's the craziest thing because like we just had a conversation like last week. We don't even have a name for it, but we all met at Red 28. Literally just 16 artists just been here, just working hard. And because we all aligned to do the Black Lives Matter mural, we kind of found a purpose outside of our own individual selves. So just being in that place and seeing all of these figures here, it's almost like our potential is just, you know, it can go anywhere, it really can, especially working together. So
we're already in the 6th year of the fellowship, and to Evan's question, the history of it might be forgotten a little bit, but like I noticed when we first came here, there was no black representation. And trying to find a solution to that, we talked to Leo Twiggs. Do you know Dr. Twiggs? Leo Twiggs is a black artist in South Carolina. He is out of Orangeburg. He's a retired professor of fine art over there, and he was just inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame this year, Verner Award recipient. And so we contacted him and asked him, how do we solve this problem? And he said exactly what you said, that these young black people, they will not come if they don't feel represented. So the whole goal of the fellowship was to bring diversity in the groups of people. And we need the diversity in age too, because those younger kids can't only afford studios. And boy, was he right about that, because as soon as we introduce more young people, more diverse young people, our whole audience became more diverse too, and we serve the community much better. So we've had a good point, and I encourage you all to get to know Dr. Twiggs very well and his work. And if you ever contact him with any questions, he'll be so happy to support you.
Anybody else? All right, any parting words of inspiration for us?
Keep experimenting, because you never know, like, the process. This was technically a mistake at first, but the process just came together, so keep experimenting.
Don't hesitate to ask advice from all the other artists around also.
Thank you so much. That was really nice. And thanks for everybody for coming out and joining us here live, and to all of our Facebook folks. Thank you too.